What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to today's pre-market analysis for Tuesday, July the 22nd. Market's gonna open in around 11 minutes, and let's do what we can before then to set ourselves up for the day. So, let's first look at the news, right? And today we don't have much news. Nothing really we have to worry about other than the fact that Powell was speaking at 7:30, but we don't even have to worry about that because if you recall in this meeting, right? You see that he spoke at the beginning. As you can see there, he's speaking, Mr. Powell. And then now currently after this break, it's now a meeting between the chair or the board of reserves or whatever. I don't even know what it's called. But I do not believe Jerome Powell is going to be speaking once again. I think he did his remarks already. Maybe he might be doing closing remarks, but that should not affect the market to a crazy extent. So nothing we have to worry about in terms of news. So yeah, let's get straight into technical and volume based analysis, right? And let's dive straight into that. So what we saw yesterday was that we did make all-time highs with heavy buying pressure, but we saw aggressive selling pressures come off and now we're making a lower high. So what I'm thinking is price may want to test this level. Depending on how we test on that level, we might continue heading up, testing those all-time high region again, or we show strong reaction from that relative area, which you have to combine with bookmap liquidity as always, and then potentially target a lower level. That's simply how I'm looking to play out the day, depending on how circumstances are. We may or may not be able to get a nice trade here today, and we'll see what we can do. But essentially, I'm marking out all the levels. This would be a 4-hour zone here at the all-time high. Let's go on to 3-hour now. I do not want to mark very far down simply because it's quite redundant and price is likely not going to head there. But I'll mark it until these lows just to be safe. Oh my god. We see all this occurring. Let's hop on the 3-hour. We have a 3-hour zone here where we did see reaction off of, so I'll mark the top tick of that as well, or the wick. Mark this out as a 3-hour. That would also work as 3-hour liquidity, so I'm gonna mark that out. Other than that, not seeing much else on the 3-hour that we really have to worry about. 2-hour, I already know that there's a 2-hour there, or here, I mean. That has already been validated through previous pre-day analysis, so that's why I'm gonna mark it out. This is not valid with volume analysis, and we'll get to validating our newer zones as well, so you guys understand what I'm saying. Not about marking that out. Other than that, I'm not seeing much else on the 2-hour. 1-hour, not seeing much else there. I'm gonna keep it above. And not seeing much at all. I'm liking this 1-hour as well. I'm gonna mark it simply because of this wick down that saw reaction from it. I do not like that this is overlapping regions, but imagine this is just one big zone. And we could work with that. But this area would likely be more significant. Not seeing much else on the 1-hour though if I keep looking. What it looks like, and from what momentum looks like so far, depending on where bookmap liquidity is, of course, if we can tap one of these levels at the top, depending on the reaction off of that level, if you start seeing aggressive buying pressure with barriers supporting it, then we can enter longs. But if we see a reaction off of it with aggression and absorption, really, maybe you can take shorts, find a retracement model targeting lower liquidity, or more importantly, a lower bookmap liquidity level. And that's what I'm going to be looking for, and that's how I'm going to play. That's simply for higher time frame analysis. We still got to validate our different levels. And yeah, let me just see if there's anything on the 30-minute, which I don't think there is. There's a zone inside of there, but we're not going to mark it. 30-minute here. This would not even be necessary to really. I'm not even going to mark it out simply because it's quite. This is the original thing that started the move. So yeah, not noticing much else. 30-minute, 15-minute, not gonna assume that there's anything there as well, but yeah, nothing nothing on the 15-minute either. So yeah, now we're on the 5-minute. We just have to leverage bookmap liquidity to our advantage here today because it's a pretty big range. The amount of space to our zone is 65 ticks. The amount of space to our lower zone is 180 ticks. So lower liquidity, it's 50 ticks. For upper liquidity, we're very close. We're only 15 ticks away. So I want to see how we react at these different levels depending on the reaction, and if we're able to identify direction, that is how we can play the day out. But let's go ahead and validate the levels using footprint chart and volume profile later. But let's simply do it using footprint chart just to get a better idea. And here, as you can see, there's nothing really that we can validate here using the footprint chart because there's not much volume generated around that area. And simply because I was in a previous session, right? So what we have to do is just do this. We'll see that volume is distributed throughout this entire region, marking them in those areas as valid. But I do want to continue marking backwards. Lots of volume at this lower liquidity level and this lower liquidity level, marking them as valid, and this zone valid, and the all-time high valid. We just want to see if there's volume that is actually driving these moves or if it's just lack of volume that is driving moves. And we always want to work with the volume rather than lack of volume. Volume here, maybe volume there where the 30-minute was. And because of such, I might actually go ahead and mark out the 30-minute. I know I said I previously didn't need to, but yeah, we're gonna mark out that 30-minute. There's that. But other than that, I don't see much else. Everything has essentially been validated using volume profile. Market's gonna open here in 2.5 minutes. Looking to see if there's any absorption areas that we might be able to consider. And looking down here, it does look like we may have seen absorption simply because of the fact that we saw aggressive seller delta at the bottom, unable to push down further. The delta of this candle was negative, but the price moved up, showing seller absorption. I'll mark it out. Validity of that, we don't know quite yet. I'm gonna mark out the entire high volume region. Actually, I'm not gonna mark it out. I will not mark it out. I will not mark it out. It looks like we're gonna continue higher. There's nothing necessarily stopping us unless bookmap says otherwise. But in the 1.5 minute before market opens, let's get into charting out NQ. And NQ is typically a lot quicker. Simply because we have the entire idea built out using ES already. Let's mark out the levels really quickly. That should be good. Let's mark out until these lows as well. There we go. And let's see what's up. Let's hop on 3 hour. I don't see any other zones per se. Let's hop on 3 hour. Ooh, we do have a 3 hour zone that does align with liquidity and that does show that we have a reaction. Market just opened just now. I do want to see book map really quickly, so give me 1 second. But yeah, there's 3 hour there we did see a reaction off of. Want to see how that reaction continues, if it holds. 3 hour here as well. Looks like selling pressure is starting to come in upon market open. Lots of 3 hours on NQ. Nothing else really. 2 hour, not noticing much now. Maybe we can mark this out as a 2 hour if there's no 1 hour. Oh, there's a 1 hour. That's perfect. Let me see if I can spot anything else on the 2 hour, but I'm not. Yep, nothing else on 2 hour. Maybe this could be, yeah, this could definitely be counted as liquidity here. And it does look like we came straight to that level and now we're seeing aggressive sell pressure occur. So if we see a barrier retracement with the sells, we might be able to catch on those sells simply because of the fact that if you take a look on bookmap, we see a very significant level that price may want to target down here in the 6335 area. So price may want to go ahead and target that. Let's see if there's anything on the 1 hour. It does look like we're creating a 1 hour sell-off zone right now. I'll just mark out these all-time high for 1 hour for now. But not seeing much else in terms of 1 hour. Yep, nothing really else on the 1 hour that we need to mark. 13 minutes, not seeing much again. I would mark out. Not not seeing much again on 30 minutes. We do have this 30-minute zone, same as yes. $15, nothing else really on the 15-minute. And now we're on the 5 minutes. So you have to see, because right now we're at the slower demand zone area on NQ. If you see buying pressure and reversal from it, who knows? But right now we're trying to figure out direction and we don't know our direction yet. Once we find out our direction from the day and where price may want to target and where it's clear that price may want to target and will target, we simply have to find a continuation model off of such or potentially a reversal model if it's too late and we start reversing from that original idea. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be all I have here for today's pre-market. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know either in the comment section or join the Discord server. Link is in the description down below. Everything's completely free and you can talk to me directly there. So check out the links in the description to see how you can use footprint and bookmap tools for completely free as well. Highly recommend you guys to check it out and learn more. But as always, do your own research, and I'll see you guys later today for a market analysis or trade recap session. That's all I have. I guess I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.